Hi, I was wondering, I recently heard some Christian leaders and writers warning that if we empathize with other people or if we feel other people's pain, that we're open to being manipulated emotionally. And I don't really understand that. Is it really a sin to be empathetic? And do you think Christians should be concerned about this?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for that question, sister. Some people are concerned with a kind of empathizing that is essentially, or can fall into essentially, being emotionally manipulated. That is, we just sort of feel with another person, but we don't ever render any judgments. We don't share the truth with them, and so I think that's one of the concerns that some people might do have. But the problem with statements like empathy is a sin is that, in my opinion, those statements are way too simplistic and can be really unhelpful. Actually, I think that the problem with a lot of Christian leadership today, and just leadership in general in the world, is that there isn't very much empathy. It's something that we lack. Now, if empathy is defined as assuming the emotions of another person, being willing to embrace those feelings, in particular those who are suffering, the sufferings of another person, then I believe actually that the Son of God, the Word, the eternal Word of the Father, is the ultimate empathizer. I mean, in the incarnation, Jesus, the Word, assumed everything it is to be human except sin. And that included our emotions, pain even. This is one of the things that we see in the book of Hebrews in particular. Now, this is highlighted in Hebrews chapter 2, verses 17 and 18. Listen to what the author of the Hebrews said. Therefore he, that is Jesus, had to be made like his brothers in every respect so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in the service of God to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For because he himself has suffered when tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted. Now, just a couple chapters later, in chapter 4, verse 15, the author to the Hebrews said this, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin." Now, can empathetic people be emotionally manipulated and just sort of sink into the pain of another person without helping or providing counsel, providing truth, rendering true judgments? I would say, yeah, I mean, that's a problem. But the problem there isn't empathy, it's the fear of man. Maybe cowardice even, being unwilling to speak the truth in love. Empathy, I would say, helps us better understand another so that we can render true and compassionate judgments when we're seeking to help someone. No, we empathize with them so that we can come alongside of them and render judgments that are compassionate and true. Now, let me give another concern that I have when thinking about this question of, is empathy wrong? Is empathy a sin? One of the hallmarks of narcissistic personality disorder is an inability to show empathy. And I think this is something that all of us have to be aware of, especially those in leadership, in positions of leadership, and especially those in positions of Christian leadership. There's research out there that highlights how power and positions of leadership tend to make us less empathetic. Power actually sort of has the ability to sort of change our brain chemistry. It affects our ability to mirror those who we feel like we can't identify with anymore. There's been a lot of research done about this, and that's why it's so special, so beautiful when you have leaders, people who are in positions of quote-unquote power, who are also filled with empathy. You think about what the Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 12, verse 15. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. See, as Christians, we are called to share in the joy and the pain of each other because especially, within the body of Christ, we're united by Jesus. And in one sense, this reflects Jesus, his very heart, his love for humanity in the incarnation and through the incarnation. And so I think statements like, empathy is a sin, I think that's just way too blanket and unhelpful. We need more empathy, frankly, in leaders, not less empathy. And we need empathy with the truth. By the way, a couple years back, I wrote an article over at corechristianity.com, emphasizing how Jesus has both of those. He has empathy, but he's also all-powerful, and that's one of the most beautiful things about him. It's called Power with Empathy, the Beauty of Jesus, an article over at corechristianity.com. Check that out.